Okay, next we're going to start to talk about diphthongs. And to know what a diphthong is, we first have to compare it to what a diphthong is not. So what we have here on our vowel chart is we have what we call the pure vowel chart. Every one of these vowel sounds, once you hit the vowel sound, your tongue remains in exactly the same place for the duration of the vowel sound. So do this. Just sustain an E. E. You could go a very long time and you wouldn't change your tongue placement as you did so. Now do an ah. Ah. Nothing changes. Try an ooh. Ooh. Your tongue remains in the same place for all of those sounds compared to the following. Now, say the sound of A, as in pay. Do it slowly. A. You'll notice that your jaw moves and your tongue arch moves. Now do oi, as in boy. Oi. You'll notice that your tongue goes from one place to another place. Oi. The definition of diphthongs, if you see this D, is two sounds. A diphthong is when you take two sounds and you combine them to make a new sound. So, for instance, let's go back to our oi, or sound as in boy. If you move your tongue very slowly, oi, you should fill your tongue to the following thing. It'll start with the call sound, oi, and it ends in the is sound as in did. Goes from here to here while you say that sound. Do it slowly again. Oi. Now if you really exaggerate the sound, it'll feel like you go to the E as in Lee, but if you say it quickly, it's oi. And that's what a diphthong is. Two separate sounds on the vowel chart. You put them together and you make a new sound. Okay, here you have 5 new sounds or 5 diphthongs. Pay, that's the sound for A. A. That is the diphthong for I, as in my. That's the diphthong for oi, as in boy. That's the diphthong for o, as in go. And that's the diphthong for ow, as in now. Now let's break those apart and look at them one at a time. The diphthong of A, as in pay, is the sound plus the is sound, as in did, and there's a little brack above the is sound. This symbol here is very important as part of the diphthong. That symbol indicates that the second element of the diphthong is weaker than the first element. That this element identifies the diphthong more strongly than that element. So this, all by itself, this symbol sounds like this. A. And you would still understand me if I said pay, or day, or say. But it wouldn't sound like the diphthong if I said pi, or di, or si, right? So the second element of the diphthong is not as important as the first element, and that's why you have that little brack above it. That is the diphthong as in my, as in I. So this symbol makes the sound of I. Let's just write this one more time. I. Now put the brack above that is sound. The oi sound, as in boy, oi, is the call sound. Don't put any dots after it. Plus the I as in did, plus the brack. Oi, oi, oi. the O sound as in go, rose, no, etc. O plus the as in wood. O plus the as in wood. O. The ow sound as in now, house, mouse. Start with the aw sound as in father. No dots after it. Plus the sound as in wood. Now, while we're on the topic of dots, this is E. That dot, those dots after that symbol represents that sound is a longer sound. It can be lengthened. E. Same thing with ah as in father. It's kind of a long sound. Father. So I could say, please, father, and it doesn't sound very strange. However, the sound of a as in pat doesn't lend itself to being lengthened. If I said, can you talk to me? It sounds a little odd, right? Or that's a dove. So that's why these sounds don't have dots after them and these do, because these are longer sounds. In a diphthong, however, you're going from this sound to this sound very, very quickly. Therefore, you wouldn't want to put dots after it because then that would sound like now, which is not how you would say that sound. Now we're going to transcribe some words using the diphthongs. We're going to transcribe the word right. The first sound you hear is a R sound, a consonant R. Now, the next sound you hear is an I. That G and that H, even though they're in the spelling, have no bearing on the pronunciation of the word. It's just R, I, T. Right. Now we're going to transcribe the word annoy. Now, this has two syllables to it, and you will see that the second syllable gets more emphasis than the first syllable. You say, annoy, annoy. You don't say, annoy. Therefore, the first syllable is going to be a schwa. Annoy. Let's transcribe the word house. House. Now you'll notice with this E here, there's an E in the spelling, but you don't pronounce it. You don't say housa. I'm going to buy me a housa. So oftentimes E's are silent, so you ignore them in the transcription. You don't attend to them. We're going to transcribe the word train. T. Next sound you hear is R. Next sound you hear is A. Next sound you hear is N. Train. We're going to transcribe the word rose. R. O. Now, even though it's spelled with an S, it makes the sound of Z. You say rose, you don't say rose. 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 Now we're going to transcribe the word sofa. Again, you'll notice that it's two syllables, and both syllables do not get equal emphasis. So you don't say sofa, you say sofa, sofa. Sofa. You'll notice that you emphasize this first syllable more. Hear how that last syllable is just a little schwa. Sofa. Sofa. You barely hear it. Sofa. We're going to transcribe the word island. Now this is a good example of the spelling not representing the sound because there's an S in the spelling, but you certainly don't say Iceland, because that's a different word. So you don't even hear that S. First sound you hear is I. And then you hear L. Now, do you say island? Probably not. You probably say island, island. You hear how that last syllable is just a schwa. Island, island. We're going to transcribe the word skater. Right away, you see this ER ending. Since it's an ER ending, you right away know it's going to be the schwa with our coloring. First sound you hear is x, and then k. The next sound you hear is A, as in pay. T. And the schwa with our coloring. Skater. Skater. We're going to transcribe the word mountain. Mountain. First sound you hear is m, ow, n, t. Now, what do you hear at that last syllable? Do you say mountain, mountain, or is it mountain, mountain? Just a schwa here. You could also do, in this case, the sound of I. Either's acceptable. You could say mountain or you could say mountain. They're pretty close in pronunciation. Next we have the word appoint. Appoint. These are two syllables. And which syllable gets stressed? Because one is going to be more emphasized than another. So do you say appoint or do you say appoint? And you hear that it's the second syllable that gets stressed, that you emphasize. So even though it's spelled with an A, that first symbol is just going to be a schwa. Two P's in the spelling, but you only hear one P. And then you hear the sound of oi, a poi. A point. Okay, very good. Now try some on your own.